Hey everyone, good morning. It's Rebecca, and you're getting it's not carpool karaoke, but you're getting the Facebook Live car version this morning. I don't know what you guys have going on this week, but I just share a couple things. Okay, first of all, June's topic is creativity, and so we're going to get to that topic in just a minute. The overall theme, not just topic, but the theme for the entire month is about creativity. We're going to be looking at today we're really talking about what it is, like why we need it, what it even is, instead of that there's kind of a standard thought process about what we perceive creativity to be, and that's not actually what it is at all, at least from my experience. And then throughout the rest of the month of June, we're going to be talking about why we need it at home, why we need it at work, why we need it at in our communities. Hey Tiff, good morning. I love this theme too. I think it's awesome. And I am not even a little bit scripted this morning. I'm going to tell you guys what I've got going on because it's crazy. Hey Flo, good morning. Hey Naomi, good morning. Oh, it's awesome to see your faces. Not your faces, but your voices. Or not your voices. Reading your words. And in my head, I see your faces and your voices. And it makes me really happy to be here with you guys. So, okay, so a couple things. It's the first full week of June, which for me as a mom, it means it's the first full week of summer vacation. Okay, so our kids have been off so last week we had Memorial Day, and the week before we had a couple days of school, right? So this is my first full week of summer vacation, and I am not shitting you guys. I think this week specifically is the busiest week of my entire year so far. I haven't had a week with as many things stacked on top of each other as I do this week. And it's, I'm not like, well, I'm busy. This is all stuff that I've signed on to be a part of. I'm just going to share that one of my friends, Katie, she recently shared that she is pulling all of her kids from summer stuff. They're going to go and they're going to spend as much time as they can at the lake. So there's no summer softball. She's got daughters. They're not doing any of those things, except maybe swimming lessons, I think she said, if that was right. But man, I think, holy cow, how novel of a concept. I am where I'm actually sitting right now is at T-ball, because I just dropped my son off for T-ball, and I've got a kid home with me, and we're running. And then this week is, we've got Vacation Bible School, and then we've got our summer celebration. It's called Irrigation Days. And I would love to hear from any of you guys that aren't from my native homeland here, what your summer festivals are, because I just think summer celebrations are really important. But I'm the president of our Chamber of Commerce, therefore really busy, really involved. So so this week I think couldn't be a better time actually to discuss creativity, because it is easy to get completely swallowed by the day-to-day stuff that we embark on. And then I can't imagine telling my boys they couldn't play baseball, because mom doesn't want to run them. And that's not what my friend Katie is doing. They made this decision together. But I think in a small town, our kids can be involved in so many things. And so you put them in everything. And sometimes it is just a little bit overwhelming, right? And so I'm not looking for sympathy, and I'm not carrying my badge of honor with the busy card, because that sucks. And I try not to do that, but just the reality. So here I sit in the parking lot of our baseball diamond, and I'm doing my Facebook Live because that's what my job allows me to do. So there, right? Okay, so for those of you that maybe haven't come with me or haven't been along for the journey, my name is Rebecca Undum, and this little weekly Facebook show that I do is really in the vein of helping women that want to live big, but they happen to live in small towns. And so living big to me is not about having a fancy job, but it's having a life that is filled with purpose and meaning. And you have ambitions and you want to see them through. And maybe for whatever reason you find yourself living in a small town. Could be that you chose to move back. It could be that you fell in love with a man that wanted to move back. There's all sorts of reasons. So that is what we do every single day, or Monday morning at 9 a.m. We tackle one small topic to help you live bigger in your small town. So this month's theme, creativity, I think is really, really important. And I'm going to recommend a book right off the bat that if any of you feel like you have that creative vibe, or you've got those creative juices that they stir up sometimes and you don't know where to shuffle them or channel them to, I'm going to recommend the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It was the coolest book on this idea of being creative that I've ever read. And I highly recommend it. And so we're going to talk, like I said, we're going to talk today just about what we tend to think of creativity as being, and then what it really is, and kind of, why it matters at all. And then these following weeks are going to be looking specifically at why we need it at work, why we need it at home, why we need it in our communities. Okay, so one of the things I love is with my business is all the people that I get to connect with, like all the beautiful women I get to meet. And one of them, and I don't know if she's with me today, but I'm going to call her out. Her name is Molly Beschi, and she is running a business called Cultivate 21. And her business is all about helping schools incorporate and develop some curriculum around 21st century learning. 21st century learning has 4 C's. One of those C's in 21st century learning is creativity. And so this whole idea of 21st century learning and development is to help kids and students develop these 4 skills. So let's see if I can think of what they all are. So it's communication, collaboration, creativity, and the 4th one, critical thinking. There, Molly, if you're watching, yay, I get a gold star, right? Because I remembered all 4. Is to help kids recognize that it isn't just about passing and failing classes. It's not just about learning history. It's not just about learning science. It's about learning how to move through the world in a way that you can adapt and you can be flexible and you can deal with problems that are thrown at you and you can work with other people to come up with different solutions. Okay? So I love the idea of 21st century learning because I just think we didn't directly talk about those things when I was going to school. So I just want a quick, yep, that's me or whatever. Does that resonate with you guys? This idea of helping students now, our kids, problem solve, really, using these 4 things. Do you think that's cool? Do you think it's not? I think it's super cool. And I love what Molly is doing. She started her own business to make this happen. So again, it's Cultivate 21. Please go check her out. If you have kids in school and you want her to come to your school, check her out. It's really, really awesome. Because I think, again, I will just say this. I am a byproduct of kind of that traditional learning where we had standardized tests, which it's fine. I'm not against those or anything. But we had very, very traditionally, I was traditionally schooled in the fact that it was all about showing your competence by passing tests. I believe, Amelia, hi. It's so awesome to see you here. My makeup looks incredible. Well, thanks. It must be the sunshine coming in through my T-ball mom window as I sit here. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Gosh, that's awesome. Okay, so I was a product of what you would consider that traditional school environment, where I was, my competence was determined by grades, and I had great grades. I was a good student, right? I would say unequivocally, you guys, and I again, weigh in on this with me because I think as a mom, I think about this even more now. I would say unequivocally, I was not taught grit. And the idea that in order to actually get through things, you were going to have to try some things and fail at those things. I strove for excellence. In terms of grades, I always got excellent grades. So it was I was set up to just think that if I didn't get an A on it, meaning I didn't nail it the first time, and I'm sorry, I've been in business for myself now for 5 years. There's a whole lot of shit that I haven't nailed even close to the first time. We're talking colossal failures, and yet those are the things that you learn from. So I would say that I wasn't necessarily, and this isn't, I'm not blaming my school. I'm not blaming I'm not blaming any of that. I think it's just a reality that we need to always be thinking about how do we teach our kids, especially, and ourselves as grownups, to embrace failure. And 21st century learning, that's why we're focusing on critical thinking. How do kids work through problems? How do they work with other people to work through problems? How do they creatively approach something instead of just it's black, it's white, it's yes, it's no, it's A or it's B, when there's million shades of gray, right? So Amelia says, I tell my son now we have to fail 99 times before we even win, and you hear him counting down every time he's a setback. That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel like this topic of creativity, it's going to really help all of us as we work through this month, but it's really going to help us think differently about how we work with our kids too, which I always love because I always feel like the lessons I need to learn my kids always end up presenting them to me like they're a mirror. And I go, oh, right. I was supposed to figure that out. Thanks, kids, right? So creativity, I think we have this notion that it is, okay, first of all, it's a limited resource that only a certain set of people are gifted with. Like, you're either creative or you're not. And I am the have or the have-nots of creativity. And that just seriously couldn't be further from the truth. Now, I'm reading a book right now called A Whole New Mind by Daniel Pink. And it's really interesting because he's talking about the fact that left brain being more analytical, right brain being that kind of creative flair. Left brain thinkers used to rule the world, like in the industrial age. Now, a lot of the left brain thinking jobs are being outsourced and being replaced by computers and being outsourced to other countries where they can do it cheaper, right? And it's really this right-brained mentality that helps us to bring a unique and individualistic kind of perspective to the work that we do. So there's science backing this everywhere, that creativity matters, but it is not that it's a limited thing. And in fact, the more you use your creativity, the more of it you have. Because it's like one of those things that grows as you stretch. It's a muscle, right? It builds as you stretch it. I think another thing that we tend to think of with creativity is we tend to think of it as only artistic expression. You know, like when we say, well, I'm just not creative because I don't paint and I don't draw, I don't write. Well, those are just one form of creativity. Creativity, when I think about what we're going to look at for the next 3 weeks on Rebecca on the Live here together, we're talking about how do you look at a problem through a different lens? How do you step back and think about something from a different perspective? Brainstorming is a creative process, right? We're talking about how to look at a situation and come at it from multiple angles. So that's why I think this whole idea of 21st century learning is super cool, because that's what it's instilling in our kids is the grit and the perseverance. Also to know that you might try a couple of ideas or a couple of options. Then when you do the debrief of that situation and you go, what could we have done differently, that you can creatively brainstorm and come up with different ideas and different ways to attack or approach a problem. So I think really for me, why this matters so much, and again, I want you guys to weigh in on what you think about creativity and why it matters, is because we are living in a world that is full of lots. Okay, so Flo said I'm stuck. Can somebody else verify that or not? I'm assuming she's meaning like my video is stuck. It's not stuck from what I'm looking at. This is why Facebook Lives are so tricky. Can anybody else still hear me? Okay, so she's got me back on. Flo, that might have been on your end. I don't know. Hopefully. Okay, yep, I think that might have been yours. But I appreciate you always telling me, Flo, because then I never know. I think that was a Flo issue, but thanks. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think why creativity matters more than ever right now is that we are in... And again, this is the world according to Rebecca. Just take that for what it is. I feel like we are in a time and a space where we have completely lost the ability to hear perspectives that differ from ours. Especially in certain arenas, like I would say politics being a large one right now, but religion is another large one. And I think what's happening is that we are hampering our ability to think creatively because we are so damn dead set on our point of view and our perspective. And I'm telling you seriously that I think it's really important for everybody to have a set of values that they adhere to and a set of a moral compass that they hold as their own. I'm not talking about swaying with the wind, but I'm talking about having our ears and our hearts open to the fact that we need to respect and appreciate other people and the thoughts and the ideas that they bring to the table, even if they differ vastly from ours. And that is fueled by creativity. Creativity is an opening of the mind. And in my mind too, and I always say this, it's also an opening of the heart. Like, it's pretty hard to be creative if your heart is black and cold and dark and you don't care about listening to what other people might think or view as important or see, right, as a point of view. So that's what creativity really is. And that's why in my mind and from my perspective, it matters more than ever right now, because the more we all dig in, the less creative, the less innovative our answers become. They become stilted. We become stagnant. Our answers are kind of meh, like mediocre, because we haven't opened up our minds and our hearts to gather perspectives and gather input and see what else there may, like another way to look at the same problem. Only creativity allows us to do that. And so that is the context that we're going to be talking about for the next 3 weeks. And I just really encourage you guys to keep hanging out. I will say this, next Monday, I think everything is promoted right now at 9 a.m. I'm going to be on a little earlier than that because I have I'm speaking at 9:30, and I think I'll have to be like practically on stage by 9. So I'm just going to give you a quick heads up. Come at 8:30 for the Rebecca Undum live show when we talk about creativity next month or next Monday. But I just really encourage you. The one thing I want to leave with you all today, because again, this was really just a what really is it and what is it not? Creativity. Creativity is not being able to paint. It is not being able to create DIY projects that are worthy of pinning on Pinterest. Creativity is an opening of the mind. And really the base word of creativity is to create. So creating anything new, like a new idea, a new perspective, a new project. It doesn't have to all be an artistic expression, although those certainly count, right? So I'm asking you right now to think about, as you go out throughout this week, what is one small thing you could do to open your mind? Or what is an area that you maybe are digging in a little too tightly on that you maybe should try to crack your mind open a bit? What are you going to do? And if you're willing to take this on as a challenge, I would love you to come to the Groove Seekers community and share it there. I will actually post this as it'll almost be, maybe every week we should do this. Like it'll be a little accountability of sorts where I just say, hey, this is the takeaway from the live today. Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to open your mind? How are you going to change your perspective? What's an area that you need to maybe let go of the grip on your perspective a little bit to allow other opinions and ideas to enter in? So I will do that out in the Groove Seekers community. If you're not in there, get your sweet self in there. I will post the link. And that's what I've got for you guys today. I really think it's important for me when I'm super scheduled like I am right now, where I've got just thing upon thing upon thing, is to constantly remind myself, like, what's a different way I can approach this and take it one. Okay, I'm just going to say this is kind of time management for you guys, but literally you can't do anything more than what you have in that moment. So taking it one day at a time, and if you need to go all the way back to an hour at a time, a minute at a time, do that so you don't get completely overwhelmed and you get engulfed by the tremendous amount of things that you've got going on at any given time. So I love creativity. I love the idea of creativity. I love spending time with people that bring perspectives. That's all brainstorming is, right? So I ask you, what are you going to do this week to open your mind and your heart a little bit and let some of that creative juice flow? Even if you don't think that you possess it, friend, you do. We all do. Okay? So as always, thank you guys so much for hanging with me this week. I love you guys so much. And all I can say is just look for the ways where you know what they are. Look for the times and the moments and the situations where you're digging in and ask yourself, what could I do to crack my mind open? Or am I being too closed off right now? Look for the ways to let that creative energy flow, because it's really, really important. And then we're going to tackle the contexts in the next few weeks. Okay. All right, everybody. I love you guys so much. Have an awesome, awesome weekend. As always, until I see you next Monday, groove on, sisters. Love you guys. Talk soon.